Hey, it's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. If you're new to the podcast, check out my interview with Mike Michalowicz. It's episode number 2. If you want to hear about each chapter in the Profit First book, go back and listen to episodes 3 through 13. Episode 1 is the why and how. On the Profit Answer Man, we learn money mastery without all the complicated accounting mumbo-jumbo using a simple system. Your accountant is busy documenting your transactions and creating a rearview mirror of what happened. My guess is you don't even look at the reports they sent you. If you're like most business owners, you struggle with this, and it's not your fault. We aren't taught money in school, and accountants aren't taught how to be profitable. The Profit First system created by Mike Michalowicz works, and he certified me to help you implement the system in your business. Remember, the new equation is sales minus profit equals expenses. Let's face it, without cash flow, you can't pay your employees, buy needed materials, or pay your mortgage and support your family. I help you to do that and more, so you can focus on the parts of the business you love and receive the rewards for your labor and investment into your business. The stronger you are as a business owner, the more jobs you create, the better we are as a country. Small business owners are the backbone of America, and for that, you deserve to be well rewarded. Just remember, more revenue does not equal more profit. That's why we focus on the bottom line. Marketing and public relations is a major part of every business. However, you get to decide how much you want to spend, and we need to measure the cost effectiveness of our efforts. You can get free marketing and public relations, but you need to keep changing your tactics, as what worked before may not work again. I'm excited to have Nancy Marshall, one of my clients, on to chat about how she helps people and to share her entrepreneurial journey. In 1991, Nancy Marshall Communications, now Marshall Communications, was born. A life-changing experience for Nancy and one that she's never regretted. Today, 30 years later, with her strong entrepreneurial spirit, the agency has represented many major clients, including the Maine Office of Tourism, the Maine Office of Business Development, and the Orvis Company, among others. Nancy's hallmark is her commitment to living clients' businesses. When she was representing Northern Outdoors, she became a licensed whitewater rafting guide. For the Maine Windjammer Association, she lived as a crew member on the Victoria Chimes. For Orvis, she learned how to fly fish and tie flies. She's also well known for her infectious laugh and her insatiable love of learning about everyone she meets. Making connections between the people for their mutual benefit is a favorite pastime, as is connecting with the new and long-lost friends on social media. Let's meet the PR maven, Nancy Marshall. Welcome to the Profit Answer Man, Nancy Marshall. It's great to have you join us today.
Thank you, Rocky. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Can you share a little bit about your business and what you do?
Yes, well, I was born for what I do. I am known as the PR maven, and I started a business 30 years ago doing public relations and more specifically media relations. I started mostly in the tourism and outdoor recreation industry. I had been the PR director for a ski resort called Sugarloaf in Maine, and I was very attracted to the whole idea of pitching stories to the media to get stories about my clients. And that's how I started my business in 1991. And I'm still doing that today. I have a team of 8 people working with me. We've been handling the PR for the state of Maine Office of Tourism now since 1993. So that's our largest and longest running client. And it's something that I am passionate about, and I just get more passionate every day, I feel.
It's always awesome when you can be passionate about your business and have it in alignment with who you are and what you enjoy doing. When that all comes together, life becomes fun.
Absolutely. I feel just so blessed that I found this profession at an early age, pretty much right out of college. I went to college. I studied liberal arts at Colby College in Maine, but I knew even while I was at college that I wanted to do some sort of international public relations. I was a French major, so I did spend my junior year in France and traveled all around Europe. And I was very attracted to the concept of international public relations, and we are today doing that, where we represent clients. Most of our clients are from Maine, but we work with media and journalists worldwide.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how to get free public relations and the value of that. Before we do, let's just chat real quickly about Profit First. How did you learn about Profit First?
Well, I've been part of a national network of agency owners called Agency Management Institute since 1999. And it was a really good thing that I found the Agency Management Institute back in 1999, because I really didn't know how to run a PR agency. I mean, I knew how to do PR, but I didn't really know how much to charge or how to manage the money. I was way undercharging for my services, which made the clients not value it as much as they should have. So I found this Agency Management Institute that has networks of agency owners that are from non-competing markets nationally. And you start out by going to several boot camps where they teach you the basics, and then you join a network, and the networks meet every 6 months. So I've been part of a network group since 2000. And the people in my network are some of my best friends, because you basically share everything. You open up your books to them, and you share the same problems and the same joys. Like, everybody loves getting new business, and then everybody has a hard time with human resources, and many of us have a hard time with financial management. So at one of the Agency Management Institute meetings, probably 6 or 7 years ago, we learned about Profit First, and I immediately read the book and I started implementing it, and it has been the greatest thing ever, because I have protected that money that should be mine, rather than saying, oh, I have money, therefore I can spend it. And then during the COVID pandemic, I discovered your course and I took the course and really loved it. It was very palatable for somebody like me who's not an accountant or a financial manager, or I'm pretty good at going out and selling the business, but then keeping track of the minutia of the money, to me, it's like getting my teeth pulled out. Unless it's the money that I'm putting into my own account. That I don't mind.
And honestly, you are the perfect avatar for Profit First, because that's how most business owners love what they do in their business. But the business of business is just not for them at all. And so they struggle with it. And I'm glad to hear it was palatable. It's not designed to be an accounting course. It's really designed to help you figure out how to implement the system and ensure that you're always profitable. And it sounds like you've been able to do that. And then you told your bookkeeper, right, what to do, and they do it for you. And now money just shows up and it continues to grow.
Yeah, it does. I mean, my bookkeeper now, she makes the deposits, and she'll send me an email and say, here, please move this figure, 10% of the total deposit, move it over into the Profit First account. And I've been disciplined. I completed your course over Memorial Day weekend, so that would have been like May 2021. And so, I mean, it hasn't been that long, but since that, I've been very disciplined. Prior to that, I had a Profit First account, but it was a little bit willy-nilly, like whether or not, whether I would move the money or not. but you helped instill in me the rationale for making it a habit. And of course, we all know whether it's diet or exercise or money, it's a matter of having good habits, right?
It is. We say profit is a habit, not an event. And so it's not something that happens once. It's something that happens monthly or weekly, however you do it. It's a habit of doing it. And when you follow the habit, you get success.
Well, Rocky, I've also listened to your podcasts, and I have drank the Kool-Aid from Rocky because, I think you are a very disciplined person, and I know that you also have good habits for your health and wellness, and so that does lead to a happy, healthy life.
That it does. So we always like to talk about profit, and what you do actually helps to drive profit. You were mentioning before that if you can become an authority in your space versus a commodity in your space, that allows you to drive your pricing and your revenue, which of course makes you more profitable. So can you share a little bit about that? What did you mean?
Sure. I'm a big advocate of growing your personal brand. So that is what separates you from all the other people who do the same thing. So if you are a plumber or an electrician or an accountant, if you have a strong brand with a brand story, then you'll be like a Starbucks coffee versus a coffee from McDonald's. You are going to be able to charge more money because you are going to be known for something. You're going to be known for your authority. And if you are the authority in your market and the person that other people have heard of, and you have what I call brand ambassadors, who are people that are so excited about your business or your personal brand that they tell others about you, that's how you can be, you can charge a premium. So public relations is really the best way of generating the kind of word of mouth marketing that differentiates an authority from just a commodity. And, you can generate your own public relations by writing columns, even for your local weekly paper or the local business journal in your market. I write columns for a publication called Maine Biz, which is a weekly business newspaper in my home state of Maine. So I'll write a how-to column. It's usually about 700 words, and it usually has like 5 things that you can do to accomplish something, whether it's how to publish a press release or how to publish a letter to the editor or an opinion column. But if you submit these kind of columns and press releases to your local publications, that's going to just help generate a lot of content that's not only in print, but it's usually online as well. And here's an example. I had written a column about how to write the perfect cover letter when you're looking for a job. Now, I don't really do a lot of that kind of thing for individuals, but this got published in Maine Biz, and there was a gentleman who's an orthodontist in Arizona who Googled that, and my column came up, and then he contacted me, and now I am doing ongoing monthly work for him to build his personal brand in his marketplace because I had published a column in my local weekly paper. So that's something that anybody can do. And it's not hard.
No, it's not hard. It has to be a habit, though, right? You write your weekly column. You put your content out. You make it, you just kind of do that. So just out of curiosity, what is the difference between public relations and advertising?
Well, advertising is something that you pay for. You buy an ad and you provide the ad to the newspaper or TV station or radio station, and you specify exactly what that ad will say, or you provide a video that's all produced, and or you provide an ad that's printed in a magazine or a newspaper. Whereas public relations generates articles or stories in the media, and they are vetted by journalists. So they are journalistic, which means that Google will perceive those as being credible because it isn't just self-promotion. It's the difference between me saying, buy from me because I have the best PR agency, versus the Wall Street Journal writing an article saying, well, there's this public relations agency in Maine, Marshall Communications, that does amazing work. Now, if I could get the Wall Street Journal to say that, I would be home free. But because a publication like the Wall Street Journal or even the NBC Nightly News or National Public Radio, they have a good reputation because they are run by journalists who are professional and they show both sides of a story. So that is really the difference between advertising and PR.
You mentioned Google. Why do you say Google is like Santa Claus?
Well, for those of us who celebrate Christmas, we can remember our parents saying, Santa knows whether you've been naughty or nice, and Santa knows everything about you. And so, you better be a good girl, Nancy, because Santa is watching. Well, it's the same thing. Google knows everything about you. Google knows if you are naughty or nice. Like if you use black hat techniques, which is like putting a lot of junk words into your content to try to get noticed by Google, Google will punish you, just like Santa will put coal in your stocking. Whereas if you are a credible authority in your market and you constantly produce new content and you post it on your website and you post it on LinkedIn and you get articles in the news, Google is going to know that. Like Google has these spiders that go all through the internet, and they take all this content about you. And then when someone searches your name, they'll see content on a whole variety of different websites. And another thing is if you have a common name, like your name isn't too common, Rocky, but if you have a common name like Susie Smith or Billy Jones, you need to differentiate yourself from all the other people who have the same name. So again, that's another reason why you need to produce content that's online so Google can find you and make you discoverable. These are all terms that didn't really exist at the advent of the commercial internet, to be discoverable or findable online, but you need to help Google to serve you up when people are searching for what you offer.
And I must be very good because Google's got me. I think I've got about the first 7 pages of Google.
For your name?
For my name? Yeah. And then
Profit Answer Man?
And Profit Answer Man also ranks pretty high with quite a few pages as well.
Well, yes, I think you are good. So I think Google probably, Google will bring you presents at Christmas time. No, but you have done a very good job of branding yourself. I mean, having a podcast helps build your personal brand. You have online courses. You go on other people's podcasts, like you'll be coming on my podcast, the PR Maven podcast. And so you do all of the right things, and you do it methodically and regularly. Like you said, it's a habit for you. And that's how, and Google knows, and that's how Google will serve you up. Google wants to serve the people who are searching. Google cares less about you and me who are being sought after. That Google wants to serve good results to those who do the searching. So Google wants to deliver high quality results. Again, not somebody who's like an auto body mechanic and creates a website and just keeps writing best auto body mechanic, over and over and over. That's Google's going to say, they're not going to serve you up for that.
Okay. Yeah, and you've got to keep creating the content over and over, and that's what I've noticed.
It has to be relevant and it has to be fresh. Yeah. If you have content from even a year ago, or say you have a website and it has like coming events and the events were like a year ago, again, they'll punish you for that. They won't serve you up. They'll say that you're not relevant.
And it's constant. And I do put out quite a bit of content, and I've been doing it for years. And so I don't fuss too much, but little by little, it gets there. And that's kind of what it's all about. Can you share a little bit about your book, Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand?
Sure. I wrote this book at the outset of the pandemic because I was realizing more and more that the larger your network, meaning the more people that you know and people who know you and people who will pay attention to you or listen to your podcast or read your books, that's going to grow your brand because it's, if you think of somebody like Oprah Winfrey, obviously she has one of the largest personal brands perhaps in the whole world. And that's because she has a huge audience. And again, she's got a media empire. So she's had television shows and magazines, and she's, one of the most sought after women. She interviews princes and princesses and past princes and princesses. But anyway, so this is sort of a step-by-step guide to all the things we're talking about now to growing your network, both online and in person. And then I really talk about how your network is your net worth, meaning, the road to professional success is to have a large network of people. I remember when I went to college, my mom said to me, it's not what you're going to learn, it's the people you're going to meet. And I'm amazed she knew that back then, but she was so right, because if you meet a lot of people and then you make a good impression on them and you are an authentic and genuine person, then those people are going to refer you, whether you're looking for a job or you're looking for clients or you're looking for somebody to, take care of your, whatever it is you're looking for. And so I also talk in this book about shaping your brand story and having kind of a consistent way of telling your story. And this is something I do with clients, is I help them tell their story to emphasize the qualities and virtues that you want other people to know about you. And then I also talk about using social media for networking and being, again, systematic about growing your network. And LinkedIn is one of the most powerful means of growing your professional network, certainly. And I also talk about brand touch, which is, how like at Dunkin' Donuts or a franchise like that or Starbucks, that you kind of get treated the same way every time you go in, whether you go in Washington, D.C. or Washington State or Los Angeles or Portland, Maine, wherever you go into a franchise, because they've trained their people to sort of touch the customers in the same way. And that's all of those brand touches in a business kind of add up to a composite, a brand, and how you make your customers feel. So I've been told that this book is a great template that professionals can use to grow their network and grow their brand. And hopefully it's been helpful to people. I certainly enjoyed writing it.
And I enjoyed reading it. I wish I had known that the whole purpose of college was networking. I didn't know that when I went. I know that now. And so it's also important to pick the right college, to find the right network that creates the right outcomes, and then to figure out if it's worth it. But I will tell you, I know for my kids, because of social media, the old concept of college networking has changed in that you don't necessarily need to pay that price tag. There's so many ways through so many other groups that you can connect with all of those people if you take the time to do it. And as you mentioned, LinkedIn is one great way to do that. There's a multitude of others. And I think people sometimes think they have to spend a fortune on this, and you don't. You can do this at a very low cost. You might just get somebody to help you get started and put your plan together and make sure that everything looks good before you get started. But at the end of the day, I look at McDonald's and I say, they don't make the best burger, but yet look how big they are, right? So you don't have to necessarily be perfect. You can build your brand like they did, and it does work.
They do it consistently. Again, that's part of building a brand, is being consistent. So, yeah, McDonald's is consistent no matter which McDonald's store you're in. And really, with personal branding, too, if you show up in an authentic way, I mean, I used to think, because I have a pretty ebullient personality, I've got a big, loud laugh, and I am enthusiastic, and I just come across I'm overwhelming, and I used to hold that back because I didn't think that I should really be myself in a professional setting. And then I realized, no, that's what differentiates me. And another key thing is, not everybody is going to like you, and you don't need everybody to like you. Just like not everybody is going to like a Subaru, or not everybody's going to like a Mercedes, or not everybody's going to like every car brand, but you are going to attract the right people to your own brand, and you're going to actually repel some people, and that's okay, as long as you are consistent and authentic. And, I can tell there are certain people that just, they're not attracted to my brand, and that's all right. But I think there are a lot of people who are, and they like the fact that I am authentic and genuine, and I'm real. And so I think it's important not to be a phony, because people can tell.
And that's very true. One of the things I've noticed, and so we do real estate, and one of the things I've noticed with people who do real estate is sometimes when they rehab these houses, they rehab them the way they like them. And we're like, no, you can't rehab it the way you like it. You have to rehab it the way that the potential buyer for this type of house at this type of price point would like it. We don't care what color you love. We care what's popular now and what people want. And that kind of brings me to the next question, which is, you say you are not your target audience. So what does that mean in the world of PR?
Well, when I used to work at a ski resort, and at that time, I think I made $15,000 a year. And, when it came around the time to post the prices for lift tickets, and at that time, I think lift tickets might have been $50 a day or maybe $40 a day. Now they're over $100 a day. But I can remember sitting around the conference table with the marketing department, and all of us young people would be like, nobody will ever pay $40 a day for a ski ticket. But our boss, who was very wise, would say, you are not the target audience. There are a lot of people in the cities of Boston and Portland who will gladly pay that amount of money. They make a lot of more money than you do. And so you can't. Another example, Rocky, is sometimes I'm working with clients and advocating for doing a lot of social media and putting yourself out there on social media. And the client will say, how can anybody have time for that? I don't have time for that. I don't have time to post on social media. And I'm like, well, you are not the target audience, because there are millions and millions of people around the world who are going on Facebook or Instagram every day. Some people are going on there 40 or 50 times a day to check or post or comment or whatever. So just because you aren't going on social media doesn't mean that millions and millions of other people are not. The whole way this came about is I have a mother who's now 88 years old, and I used to watch TV with her, and she would see like scantily clad young women like shaking their booty, singing on, shows. And my mother would say, how could they do that? Why don't they cover themselves up? and I would always say, Ma, you are not the target audience. There are so many people who just love watching these women shaking their booties on the TV shows. So my mom and I still have a joke about that now, where I say, you are not the target audience.
And again, if you don't want to do this, you always can hire people to do all of these different things for you. There's people who manage social media. Again, you just need to make sure that it's profitable, right? That as long as it's driving revenue and you're getting a good return on what you're doing, then it's appropriate. But if you're not getting a return, or the person who's doing your social media isn't in your voice, then you have to do something different and make some changes.
And it's not like public relations. It's not going to deliver a return on investment in the first week or the first months. And again, if you want a fast return on investment, you're much better off buying advertising, whether it's print or broadcast or even Google AdWords or social media advertising. This kind of approach to public relations and organic social media is a long game. It's a long-term ROI. So, I mean, I've been doing this since social media was invented. Sometimes I say social media was invented just for me, so I could be social all the time.
And I know for me, it has been a long-term game. And part of it is the first time someone hears about Profit First, they're intrigued. They might read the book, but then they don't do anything. And
right.
and a lot of that actually is because people have all kinds of anxiety with money. So even though they want to do it, they don't start. And months or years go by before they actually take action. And it's just constantly being there. But it's like growing a tree. You plant a lot of seeds, and eventually you have a forest.
Right, exactly. My mother, when I used to get overwhelmed with my homework, my mother would say, just one tree at a time. Don't try to take down the whole forest. So
you chunk it up and you make it small and you knock it down. And that's exactly how you do it. And that's how all these things work. Like that's a timeless principle. If you break things down into little bits and you take little teeny action steps and do little things and create those little habits, over time you will have success. But you have to keep showing up. And I think everybody now expects overnight success, and that is never the case. Oprah wasn't an overnight success, and most people aren't. And even when you see overnight success, what you will realize is there's a 10-year backstory that you just didn't know about.
Exactly. I agree. I mean, I've had my agency for 30 years now, and I sometimes tell people, I mean, it doesn't get easy. It's perhaps easier. I know what needs to be done, but I know it's still a lot of hard work and focus and attention. And again, it helps to be passionate and enthusiastic about what you're doing.
If people would like to learn more about your agency, you yourself, or your book, what is the best way for them to do that?
Well, my agency is at MarshallPR.com, and Marshall has 2 L's. And my book is actually on Amazon.com, Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand. I also had a former book called PR Works that is on Amazon as well. And you can also find my podcast, which is called the PR Maven Podcast, by going to marshallpr.com/podcast. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I welcome people to reach out on LinkedIn. And I'm on all the various social media, like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, as Maine PR Maven.
Awesome. And we will put all of that in the show notes to make it easy for people to find you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Rocky. It was a pleasure, and I'm so glad I found you.
How do you measure the effectiveness of your marketing and public relations expenditures? I'll be honest, I spend very little money myself at the moment because there are ways to partner. Being creative goes a long way to getting the results you need. If you need help, check out Nancy's work. I'll put links in the show notes. You can find more information about the course on ProfitComesFirst.com. Remember, you don't need more resources, you need to be more resourceful. We focus on the bottom line. If you want a done-for-you service, you can have me as your Chief Profitability Officer because you have your zone of genius and want to spend your time doing what you love. I only work with a handful of clients, so they get my full attention. I work with business owners who have or are growing to $500,000 to $5 million in revenue. You can use the scheduling link in the show notes to get on my calendar for a good fit conversation to see if I'm the right person to support you and how I can help you. If you want to learn about living the life of your dreams, check out my other podcast, Richer Soul. As we close out, let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Have an abundant and profitable week.